In about a month, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands will be released on March 25th. This is the first Kirby 3D game we've seen for a number of years, and the latest installment in the franchise on the Switch. This will be the first time we see Kirby in a 3D platformer setting, and it was met with genuine surprise and disbelief when it was announced during Nintendo's September Direct. Especially after the varied reviews and criticism received by Kirby Star allies, the Kirby franchise desperately needed to be reinvented. At this point, we don't actually know a whole lot about the game, aside from a few trailers and a couple of interviews, so I thought I'd do a video to compile everything we do know about Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. Before we get started, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new to help support the channel, and don't forget to leave a comment to let me know your thoughts. Kirby and the Forgotten Land takes place in an unfamiliar but inviting and interesting setting. In the announcement trailer, we start off in a run-down mall overgrown with trees and flora. From the closed-off shops and the massive debris here, we seem to be in a post-apocalyptic world. This is further shown by the shot of the city with overgrown trees and ruined buildings, before it cuts to a shot of Kirby washing up on an unknown beach. Kirby wakes up in a forest which looks to have either overgrown the land that was once there, or as a habitat not too far away from the city we just saw. Kirby looks seemingly shocked to his whereabouts, probably an indication that Kirby has not been to this area before. We then see Kirby walking towards the city, which I would hope is all playable and traversable, which would really take adding Kirby as a 3D platformer to the next level. We can see Kirby dodging these fox-like enemies and navigating around the mall. However, based on the way the camera is panning and how close it is, as well as the streamlined way the gameplay is shown, it looks like it will be a fully 3D platformer adventure. Kirby will take on a number of different areas like an amusement park, scaling skyscrapers, a beach setting, a fun house, and even a desert area. However, in my opinion, the most interesting of these settings are the desert and the skyscrapers. The desert looks the most ruined and destroyed and has a lot of intrigue when it comes to the story, whereas the skyscraper levels lead more towards vertical 3D platforming, which you haven't seen a lot of in the Kirby franchise. I think this is important because this means we'll get to explore a lot of the Forgotten Land while still staying true to the core game mechanics of a typical Kirby game. The gameplay aspect of the Forgotten Land will give a much needed refresh to the franchise, away from the side-scrolling 2D adventures that fans have become accustomed to, for better or for worse, and into a 3D adventure setting. Kirby's mission, as quoted by Nintendo, will be to collect as many Waddle Dees as possible, which have been held captive by the Beast Pack at the end of each stage. We see Kirby using normal jumps and double jumps in the trailer, while also being followed by a gang of 3 ducks in this shot. This could be part of a side mission or clues to a new ability that requires collecting these ducks. As always, Kirby has his copy ability involving sucking in enemies and taking on their characteristics in order to progress through levels. We see in the trailer that Kirby sucks up a blade knight and uses the blade to slash at enemies and spins in circles to clear out hordes. And we can see a number of these abilities which can lend to interesting platforming opportunities. Kirby can absorb Sir Kibble to use a boomerang to attack, and also grab faraway items or trigger switches from faraway platforms. Kirby can also gain spikes to roll around and open pathways while demolishing enemies. We also see Kirby breathing fire and ice whilst ice skating on certain levels. We also see some interesting abilities like Kirby bowling balls, summoning typhoons, and using his iconic hammer to further the level. We notice Kirby gaining a digging ability from absorbing one of the moles, allowing it to squirm around and attack from below. There's also a trumpet looking weapon which can be used to propel Kirby, attack in short range, and also be used as a cannon when charged up. This number and level of abilities gives me the feeling of like when we saw Super Mario Galaxy on the Nintendo Wii. We saw Mario in a completely different domain, and we now know how revolutionary that was for the Mario franchise. And I'm fairly certain that that's what HAL Laboratory is trying to do with the Kirby franchise. We also get to see Kirby use these abilities in taking on various different bosses. As we can see here, Kirby has a flaming head against this boss, while here Kirby opts to use a sword. In the latest trailer, they toyed with the idea of potential co-op play with Waddle Dee, and it looks like this will actually mean genuine co-op play, unlike what we've seen in previous Nintendo platformers. However, as opposed to online co-op, it looks like it will be couch co-op only, as it says on their website to pass the Joy-Con over. We can see this in the trailer when we see Waddle Dee wielding its spear and hovering over enemies with an area of effect attack. Whether Waddle Dee will be brought into boss battles is unknown, however I'd like to see the co-op option be there for more in-game puzzles. The gameplay extends beyond just your typical platforming. We also see that there's going to be a hub world called Waddle Dee Town. Nintendo revealed that we'll be up against the Beast Pack in Forgotten Land in order to save kidnapped Waddle Dees, so this may be the place where those rescued Waddle Dee get placed. Here we have a clothing store, a food store, and a theatre, which will probably consist of various mini-games and cosmetic items. For example, here you can see Kirby fishing, and in this minigame, it looks like you have to sort which order to give to customers, and the P1 tag in the bottom suggests this can be co-op or competitive. It's also possible that part of this could be an online hub where you compete with other players, as in this shot it says that it requires Nintendo Switch Online. The Wise oled is there to give helpful hints as you progress through the game, and Nintendo said that this will also be where you keep track of leaderboards and the most used copy abilities from other players. Another feature of the hub world is that it looks to be at least 6 different collectibles from this gumball machine, with different rarities from 1 to 3 stars. Like many 3D Mario games, moving between levels will probably have the same format, involving using the warp star and dropping in different stages, with red possibly indicating stages you've been to / completed, and purple indicating newer stages. And from the looks of it, exploring these stages will be amazing. While it does look very linear, the amount of detail that's gone into these worlds looks incredible, and there's bound to be a bunch of hidden Easter eggs and secrets throughout the levels. Nintendo have definitely not played it safe with this installment in the series, as this is a far cry away from what you would typically expect from a Kirby game. I'm excited to see how this will hold up against other Nintendo platformers, and how it will hold up compared to previous Kirby installments. And that's about it for everything that we know about Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment telling me what you guys think, and if you think there's anything that I may have missed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.